Starting from this lecture, we will be starting a series of lectures on event-driven programming. Procedural versus event-driven programming. Procedural programming is executed in procedural order, and we know that in our Java program, it is basically procedural programming if no GUI is involved. In GUI environment, because there are many widgets or windows, and each will be operated separately, and each of the windows may have intertwined operations. So we will need the event-driven programming paradigm. Code is executed upon activation of events. So event-driven programming is used to model the behavior of the GUI. And GUI without event-driven programming will just have the structural information and the style information. It cannot actually work. So event-driven programming is very important in terms of computation in GUI environment. First, let's look at event-driven paradigm in AWT and swing environment. One button, we call it event source. You can click it. When you click it, it activates one event object. Event object represents the click operation, and that event object click will be put into a certain queue, waiting for the event handler to handle it. So on this button, we also need to associate certain event listener with it. And that event listener class will have one action performed that we call it as event handler method to handle that event click. So the operation will be like this. When you click on the button, you actually file an event object. And the listener object or event listener need to register with the event source, the button, before the event object being fired. Once the event object being fired, this object will be put into a certain queue, and the event listener looking at the event related to the event listener. And once it checks that there is certain event happening, then this event listener will call the event handler method to process that event. So event listener, also known as event handler, actually in the event listener class, there is the event handler method. Object to follow the action is also called the event target. So the button may initiate another window. That new window is event target. So right here we have a few terms: event source, the button; event object, the click operation; event listener, the listener associated with the button to process the event, and the event object will contain certain method, we call it event handler. So to register an event listener and handler, first you need to define the listener class, and then you create a listener object and attach that listener object to the button. And the source object, button, the listener object will be the one contains the method to process the event. Let's look at the execution of event-driven operation. We have a class called handle event. That is one JFrame. And in this JFrame, it will create one frame with two buttons, OK and cancel. So this button OK will need to have one OK listener class, and this OK listener class register with the OK button. So this OK button associated with the listener1 class. And listener1 object is actually one OK listener class over here, and there is a handler method over here. It will print out OK button being clicked. So the first step, we need to start the main method to create a window and display it. And then we click OK. Once you click OK, it will create one event, and that event will be put into a certain queue, and the listener 1 will be listening on that event object. And once the event object happens, then we will print out this. So when we click the OK, the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine, invoke the listener's action perform method, and in there, you will print out OK button clicked. Let's look at the handle event.java. In this handle event.java, we have one constructor over here. The main program is over here, And the main program will create one frame for handle event class. And in the handle event class, it will have one button OK and one button cancel. And then we add that two buttons into the panel. And that panel being added into the frame. And then we create two listener class, listener 1 and 2, and then register the two listener to the two buttons. So we create two buttons with two listener, and the listener class are over here. Let's run it. So when we run it, a frame with two buttons and one panel is created, but nothing more. Nothing has happened because we have not clicked anything. So this OK button associated with listener 1 and the cancel button associated with listener 2. And each one, when the click event happens, the OK button click message will be printed out. Or for the cancel button click will be printed out. Let's click. So when I click it, the OK button click has been printed out. Let's click cancel. Similarly, keep doing that. Keep doing that. So as you can see right here, when I click OK, a event object being put into the event queue, and then listener 1 keep alert on it. When it see a event for the OK button click happen, and then it will print out this message on the console. In this lecture, we have introduced event-driven programming and associate the listener with the button, and define the listener class and the handler method, and discuss the event source, event object, event target, and the event handler and event listener. But this can be simplified with the anonymous inner class. You can just put such anonymous inner class for action listener right here with the handler. Put it right here. Can represent the declaration of the listener 1 object and the class declaration just by using the anonymous inner class. And also we can even further simplify it with an event object and then the lambda expression with the event handler. This would be the most clean version for assigning the J button with a handler event. And this lambda expression is equivalent to the whole thing right here. So, in the next few lectures, we will be discussing how to create event listener for different buttons, labels, and different components. And also, we will show you how to construct the listener of different expression and the methods. We will also tell you how to start to do GUI programming and design your own GUI with the structural information, the container, the component, and also the behavioral modeling using event-driven programming in Swing environment. Thank you. Bye.